Good morning, girls and boys. I hope you're enjoying this beautiful monsoon morning. Keeping this beautiful weather in mind, let's discuss a beautiful poem by Rabindranath Tagore, Abhisara The Tryst. So let's get started. To begin with, I will give you a summary about the poem. Abhisara The Tryst is a narrative poem by Rabindranath Tagore. It tells the story of Upagupta, a disciple of Buddha, and Vasavdutta, a beautiful dancing girl. One dark night, Vasavdutta invites Upagupta to her house, but he politely refuses and says he will come to her when the time is right. Less than a year later, Vasavadatta loses her beauty and is abandoned by society after being struck by smallpox. It is then that Upagupta visits her, cares for her, and fulfills his promise. Through this touching story, Tagore shows that physical beauty is temporary, but compassion, kindness, and humanity are eternal. The poem highlights the triumph of spiritual love over worldly attraction. As we go through the poem, notice how Tagore contrasts beauty with compassion, worldly attraction with spiritual love, and shows us that true greatness lies in helping others when they need us the most. Abhisara the Tryst. Upagupta, the disciple of Buddha, lay asleep in the dust by the city wall of Mathura. So, Upagupta is the main character of the poem, and he is a Buddhist monk who is spiritually disciplined and detached from worldly pleasures. So he's called a disciple of Buddha. Why? Because he follows the teachings of Buddha. He believes in the principles of simplicity, compassion, and renunciation. And he was sleeping on the ground. So sleeping on the ground is symbolic, and it shows that a monk who has renounced worldly comforts can sleep anywhere without complaint. This also shows detachment, self control, and simplicity. So he's sleeping near the wall surrounding the city of Mathura. Symbolically, this suggests distance from worldly life, separation from material pleasures, and he lives near the society but he is not attached to it. So Tagore introduces Upagupta first through his spiritual identity, not his appearance. Okay, so what happens when he is introducing us through his spiritual identity? It immediately establishes spirituality, humility, and inner strength. So, a simple interpretation of the first line would be the opening line introduces Upagupta as a humble and spiritually detached disciple of Buddha who has renounced worldly comforts. His sleeping in the dust symbolizes simplicity, self discipline, and freedom from material attachment. Also, if you notice on this slide, towards the end bottom there are I have highlighted few keywords. Now when your teacher is teaching you the poem, or whether it is poem or it is short stories or it is Shakespeare, please make a note of the keywords. Now keywords is the list of keywords is given to these teachers from the board. So when you are writing your answers, the board will the examiner who is actually correcting your answer scripts will look for those keywords, and if your answers has those keywords, you score well in your exams. So always keep a note of the keywords, make a note of the keywords that your teacher is telling you in the class. That is very important from the exam perspective. Lamps were all out, doors were all shut, and stars were all hidden by the murky sky of August. Lamps were all out, meaning all oil lamps in the houses had been extinguished. It suggests it is late night, everyone is fast asleep, and there is absolute silence in the city. Doors were all shut. All houses were closed from inside. This also shows safety and isolation of people inside their homes, no movement outside, complete stillness in society. It creates a sense of emptiness in the outside world. And stars were all hidden. Even the stars in the sky cannot be seen by the murky. Murky means dark, cloudy, unclear. So dark, cloudy, unclear sky of August. So the August sky is full of clouds and haze, so it blocks the light of stars. To summarize, it was a completely dark night. All lights in the houses were off, doors were closed, and even the stars could not be seen because the sky was cloudy and unclear. Now, the poet has used literally devices like imagery. So, visual imagery of a dark night. Symbolism is another literary device used by the poem. Darkness symbolizes uncertainty, mystery before a turning point in the story, and emotional and spiritual tension. A third device used by the poet is cumulative structure. So you will see that there are three parallel phases. Lamps were all out, doors were all shut, and stars were all hidden. This repetition builds rhythm and intensity. So, a quick, ready interpretation of this line would be: the poet creates a completely dark and silent atmosphere through images of extinguished lamps, closed doors, and a clouded sky. This sets a mood of mystery and prepares the reader for an important encounter in the poem. Whose feet were those tinkling with anklets, touching his breast of a sudden? Whose feet were those? The poet is surprised and curious. It shows someone has suddenly appeared near Upagupta. The identity is not revealed yet, but it creates mystery in the scene. This is a rhetorical question. So, a rhetorical question is not expecting an answer, just building suspense. Tinkling with anklets. The sound of anklets is being heard, which suggests the presence of a woman, grace and beauty, movement and elegance. The literary device used here are auditory imagery. Why? Because we can hear the sound. You can hear the sound through words like tinkling with anklets, touching his breast of a sudden, which means that the person has come very close to Upagupta, so close that her movement or presence feels like it reaches his chest suddenly. So, a simple meaning would be the poet is asking a question. And what is that question? Whose feet were making soft jingling sounds of anklets and suddenly came so close that they seemed to touch Upagupta's chest. The literally devices used here are rhetorical question, auditory imagery like tinkling with anklets, suddenness and shock effect by the words of a sudden, like touching his breast of a sudden. So this creates a shock effect, a suddenness. Now, to summarize, the poet uses a rhetorical question and auditory imagery to create suspense and highlight the sudden appearance of a woman whose anklets sounds announce her presence. The unexpected closeness intensifies the dramatic moment of meeting. He woke up startled, and the light from a woman's lamp fell on his forgiving eyes. He woke up startled. Upagupta suddenly woke up startled or surprised, meaning he was surprised or startled. Which also indicates to us that Upagupta was sleeping earlier and something sudden disturbed him. He became aware of someone's presence near him and the light from a woman's lamp. A woman is standing nearby holding a lamp and its light falls on him. Now, who is the woman? Later revealed as Vasavdutta. The literary importance of this line is this confirms the arrival of a female presence introduced earlier through anklets. Fell on his forgiving eyes. The light from the lamp shines on Upagupta's eyes, which are described as forgiving. It means Upagupta is calm and compassionate. He does not judge others. His expression reflects kindness and acceptance. Character insight: even when suddenly disturbed, he remains peaceful. Simple meaning: Upagupta suddenly woke up in surprise, and at that moment the light from a woman's lamp fell on his calm, gentle, and forgiving eyes. The literary devices used here are imagery. So, imagery as in the visual imagery of light falling on his eyes. Contrast: the what contrast it is creating: sudden action versus calm reaction. And symbolism as in light from the lamp and forgiving eyes. So to summarize, the poet uses visual imagery to describe the sudden awakening of Upagupta when the light from a woman's lamp falls on his calm and forgiving eyes. This highlights his spiritual composure and compassionate nature even in an unexpected situation. It was Vasavdutta, the dancing girl, starred with jewels, clouded with a pale blue mantle, drunk with the wine of her youth. It was Vasavadatta, the dancing girl. The identity of the woman is revealed. She is Vasavadatta, a dancer. This is the first full introduction of her character. She belongs to the world of art and beauty, and she is associated with fame and attraction. Start with jewels. She was wearing many jewels that sparkled like stars. Literally device used here are metaphor and visual imagery. Clouded. Clouded here means gently wrapped or covered with a pale blue. Pale blue meaning soft, delicate color. Mantle. Mantle is cloak or covering. So she was wrapped in a soft, pale blue garment that flowed around her. It creates uh, a dreamy and graceful visual. Drunk with the wine of her youth. She is not literally drunk, it means she is intoxicated by her own youth, beauty, and charm. The literally devised used here are metaphor, which means she is proud of her beauty, she is full of youthful energy and confidence, and she is unaware of impermanence. Impermanence means the impermanent nature of life. So, to summarize, the woman standing there was Vasavadatta, a famous dancer. She was beautifully dressed with jewels shining like stars, covered in a pale blue cloak, and full of youthful charm and pride. The literary devices used here are visual imagery, metaphor. Metaphor here is the line drunk with the wine of her youth. So here youth is being compared to an intoxicating wine. So this is a metaphor. Symbolism, how the symbolism has been used through jewels, youthful intoxication, and Vasavadatta representing physical beauty and worldly charm. So an exam ready interpretation would be: the poet introduces Vasavadatta as a richly adorned and beautiful dancing girl whose physical charm and youthful pride are emphasized through vivid imagery and metaphor. Her intoxication with youth suggests the transient and illusionary nature of worldly beauty. She lowered her lamp and saw the young face, austerely beautiful. She lowered her lamp. The woman, that is Vasavadatta, bends her lamp downwards so she can see his face properly. This action brings light onto Upagupta's face, symbolically revealing his true nature. And saw the young face. She looks at Upagupta's face. This line is important because this is the first direct visual recognition of him by Vasavadatta in the poem. Austerely means simple, plain, without luxury or decoration. His beauty is not physical glamour but a calm spiritual inner beauty. This line creates a strong contrast between Vasavadatta, who is decorated, glamorous, jewel studded, outward beauty, whereas Upagupta is simple, calm, spiritually radiant, and reflects inner beauty. So, a simple meaning would be: Vasavadatta bent down her lamp to see the face of the young monk clearly. She saw that his face was simple, calm, and spiritually beautiful. The literary devices used here are contrast. Uh, like worldly beauty versus spiritual beauty. Visual imagery has been used again, and symbolism again has been used. So an exam ready interpretation of the line would be: the poet highlights the contrast between worldly and spiritual beauty by describing Upagupta's face as austerely beautiful. Unlike physical attraction, his beauty lies in simplicity, calmness, and spiritual purity, which deeply distinguishes him from Vasavadatta's decorated appearance. Forgive me, young ascetic, said the woman, graciously come to my house. The dusty earth is not a fit bed for you. Forgive me, young ascetic, said the woman. The woman speaks respectfully to Upagupta and asks him to forgive her. It shows politeness, admiration, and emotional softness. Graciously come to my house. She politely invites him to her home. It shows hospitality, attraction, but in a subtle way, and desire to offer comfort. This is not just kindness, it also reflects emotional attraction and fascination with Upagupta's calm presence. The dusty earth is not a fit bed for you. Sleeping on the ground is not suitable for someone like Upagupta. This line reflects two contrasting worldviews. Vasavadatta's view, which is comfort matters, and physical beauty should be protected. People deserve luxury, whereas Upagupta's life represents simplicity, renunciation, and acceptance of hardship. So, to summarize it simply, the woman politely asks for forgiveness and invites the young monk to her home. She tells him that sleeping on the dusty ground is not suitable for someone like him. Literally devices used here are irony. Irony has been used, but in a subtle manner. Sorry. She thinks she is elevating him by offering comfort, but he actually lives beyond such needs. So this is irony. Character contrast can be seen where Vasavadatta represents luxury, beauty, and worldly life, and Upagupta represents simplicity, detachment, and spirituality. Imagery has been used by words like dusty earth and house. So, an exam ready interpretation would be the woman respectfully invites the ascetic to her house, believing that his simple living conditions are unsuitable for him. This reflects the contrast between her worldly sense of comfort and Upagupta's spiritual detachment from material needs. The young ascetic answered, "Woman, go on your way. When the time is ripe, I will come to you." The young ascetic answered. So the young ascetic here is Upagupta responds calmly to the woman. He is not angry, he is not attracted, and he is not emotional. He is composed. "Woman, go on your way." He politely tells her to leave. His tone is respectful, calm, non judgmental. Even in refusal, he shows compassion and dignity. He does not insult her or reject her harshly. When the time is ripe, which means when the right moment comes, this also means that everything has a proper time. Actions cannot be forced. Destiny or spiritual timing does matter. Upagupta is guided by spiritual wisdom and not emotion or desire. This is a key Buddhist idea. So, what is the key Buddhist idea is right timing and right action. "I will come to you." He promises that he will meet her later. This line predicts the second half of the poem. Later, what happens in the second half of the poem? Vasavadatta becomes sick and abandoned, and Upagupta returns to help her compassionately. A simple meaning would be Upagupta gently tells the woman to leave. He says that he will come to her at the right time when the proper moment arrives. So, the literary devices used here are foreshadowing. Foreshadowing means uh, so the line, if you see, it predicts the future events in the poem. So, which also indicates that a second meeting will happen, but under very different circumstances. Irony has been used. So, at this point, she's inviting and offering comfort and admiration for Upagupta. But later on, what happens? He goes to her when she is suffering. Spiritual symbolism here is time is ripe, which symbolizes destiny, moral timing, and spiritual purpose. So, an exam ready interpretation would be the young ascetic's refusal is gentle and respectful, showing his spiritual detachment. His statement that he will come when the time is ripe introduces the idea of destined timing and foreshadows their later meeting when Vasavadatta is in suffering. So boys and girls, what I am doing, or what I will be doing with this poem, with the explanation of the poem, is I'm going to explain it into three parts. Why? Because the poem is long and the explanation is also taking will also take a lot of time. So if the video is too long, there are chances that the retention will not be high, and there is also a possibility that even you will get exhausted just listening to such a long interpretation. So what I am doing is I have broken the poem into parts. The first part I conclude now, and the second part will conclude some more portions of the poem, and then there is going to be a third part which will uh, have the explanation of the remaining poem. So this way it becomes easier for all of you to go through the entire explanation. And also, let us say if some of you want explanation on the on some of the lines from the poem which constitute the middle part of the poem, then you can refer to the second video. Or if you want the beginning of the poem, the explanation for the beginning of the poem, then you can refer the first part of the poem. So for ease of understanding and for better retention, I am breaking the explanation into three parts. Hope this helps you. Please share your feedback in the comment section, because your feedback is very important. It will only help me refine my videos. Also, if there are certain practice questions which are very peculiar in nature, and you would want me to explain you would want me to explain the approach of those questions, please mention it in the comment section. The more you share your feedback, the more you tell me what you want to learn, I will be in a better position to help each one of you. With this, we conclude the first part of the poem, Abhisara the Tryst, and I'll see you in the second part. Till then, have an amazing day ahead. Bye bye.